The paintwork of Japanese-made cars has never been known for its reference quality, and the QX is not exception. In addition, certain malfunctions in the creation of the front of the car do not contribute to the long service life of the paintwork, due to which the body begins to sandblast over time. Despite this, the body staunchly resists the onslaught on the red disease, due to which even the cars of the first years of production often do not even have a hint of rust. As for the problem areas of the body, there are few of them. The most common ailment is fogging of the front optics. Fortunately, the problem is solvable. Additional sealing of the headlight blocks seems is required. Another disadvantage is the frequent failure of the button responsible for opening the trunk window. The reason, the wiring becomes unusable. It is also worth noting the tendency to sour the mechanism for lowering the spare wheel. To avoid trouble at the most inopportune moment, it is necessary to periodically lower the spare tire and lubricate the mechanism. With the advent of frost, door handles may stop working due to freezing cables. Only a 5.6-liter V8 gasoline engine with a capacity of 320 horsepower and a torque of 529 Nm was installed on the Infiniti QX56. This motor is very reliable, but demanding on the quality of lubricants. If you pour anything into it, then serious problems with its performance and expensive repairs of the unit will not take long. The biggest drawback of this motor is unreliable chains in the timing system, thin, which tend to stretch. Some servicemen say that a chain from Taida is used here. Manufacturers are well aware of this problem, so they released reinforced chains that run a relatively long time, 150–180,000 kilometers. It is also worth noting the oil burner of the power unit, which may require up to 1 liter of oil per 1000 kilometers. The increased oil consumption of this model is a platform for disputes and discussions, since some motors eat oil only at high speed and dynamic movement, while others are the other way around. In any case, this is not the norm and serve as a reason for a diagnosis. First of all, you need to measure the compression in 7/8 cylinders. It should be at least 13.5 kg, the standard value is 15.5 kg. Catalyst can also be attributed to weaknesses which are quickly destroyed when low-quality fuel is used. The main symptoms indicating the need to urgently replace the catalyst will be loss of traction, unstable engine operation, errors in lambda probes appear. This disease is exacerbated by the fact that when the catalyst is destroyed, its particles, ceramic dust, enter the cylinder, the lubrication system and damage them. If this happens, you will only have to buy a new engine, since no amount of flushing will completely remove such dust. In order to solve the problem for a long time, it is necessary to replace the catalyst with flame arresters. One can also note the unreliability of the injection pump, which requires replacement every 80–100,000 kilometers. The servicemen call the reason for the short pump resource insufficient cooling, due to the small amount of fuel in the gas tank and the use of high-quality gasoline, which clogs the fuel filter at the pump inlet. Symptoms: dips appear during sharp acceleration, which eventually develops into a decrease in power throughout the entire range of engine operation. It is also worth noting the engine's tendency to overheat, so it is necessary to monitor the condition of the cooling system and periodically clean the radiator under high pressure. It is not recommended to use Karcher-type systems for washing the radiator, as they are not effective. Electrical wiring under the hood is exposed to chemicals. Because of this, its contacts oxidize over time, which leads to malfunctions of the engine control system. For cars of the first years of production, the electric fan of the air conditioner radiator is installed directly behind the radiator grille and is exposed to all winds. Because of this, it can jam over time. This trouble can cause the wiring harness to burn out. To minimize the risk of various malfunctions of the unit, use only high-quality gasoline, original oil and do not delay car maintenance. Only a 5-speed automatic transmission was installed in tandem with the engine. This unit is reliable, but the hoses of its cooling system often lose their tightness, flow at the junction of rubber with metal. Tightening with the replacement of hoses is not worth it, as this can cause early failure of the box. There are also complaints about the incorrect operation of the transfer mode selection switch, buggy due to the failure of the electronic servo drive. The transmission is afraid of overheating, so it is recommended to install an additional cooling radiator on cars that are often used off-road or in regions with a warm climate. In the all-wheel drive system, the weak point is the crosses of the front and rear drive shafts. They fail during active city driving, about once every 2 years. Symptoms: clicks, clatter, appear when switching the automatic transmission selector from R to D. In the front axle, breakdowns are possible and more serious: the destruction of the gearbox, the twisting of the axle shaft, CV joints, as a rule, the right one and the left one falling out. Experts say that such troubles are often caused by abrupt starts in 4H and auto modes with the wheels turned out. The cardan shafts have an impressive thickness, besides they are made with interchangeable crosses, only the front crosses are supplied only assembled with the shaft bumps. But the handling here is at a high level, which cannot but rejoice, especially considering the weight, almost 2.5 tons. And there are dimensions of the car. As for the reliability of the suspension, there are no serious complaints about it. Due to the high center of gravity, it is often necessary to change the rubber bands of the front stabilizer every 20–30,000 kilometers. Fortunately, they are inexpensive, about $5 for the original. Once every 100–120,000 kilometers, the front shock absorbers need to be replaced, about $150 and closer to 150,000 kilometers, the rear ones. On the same run, the wheel bearing also fail. They change as an assembly with the hub. If wheels of 20 diameters are installed on the car, the life of the wheel bearings will be significantly less. Regularly, air blows are installed on the rear axle, which prevent the shock absorbers from sagging when heavily loaded. The weak point in the pneuma is the compressor, which suffers from the effect of moisture and reagents, oxidize and wedges. The cost of a new compressor is unreasonably high, about $400, therefore many owners change it to a cheaper analog. The steering system is reliable. The only thing that requires special attention here is the power steering hoses. It happened that they flow. The brakes also cannot be called problematic. However, on cars of the first years of production, they were quite unsuccessful. They quickly overheated and warped. After restyling in 2008, the manufacturer eliminated this problem by installing reinforced brakes, but they are not always enough to stop such a large car with confidence. The Infiniti QX56 interior is striking in its size, but this is the beauty of such cars. As for the quality of finishing materials and sound insulation, they are at a high level. Among the shortcomings here, one can note the weak lateral support of the seals. Because of this, while driving on the road, you have to constantly hold on, and this quickly tires. Infrequently, electrical equipment also annoys. Here only the poor quality of the dashboard can be noted. Besides, it constantly requires repair. The instrument lights go out. Some owners blame the appearance of glitches in the control unit of the multimedia system. In both cases, resoldering the board tracks is required to fix the problem. After 100,000 kilometers of run, the heater motor starts to move. A rattle knock appears after switching modes. The elimination of this trouble will cost $6,100. If you are the owner of this car model, please describe the problem that you had to face during the operation of the car. Perhaps it is your review that will help readers of our site when choosing a car.